Guys, that driver had already run into some trouble, pleading guilty for weapons charges. He was set to be sentenced in late March, but just 3 days before that was to happen, the state went on lockdown because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Had they done their job correctly and kept him in there, she would still be here.
That's right.
That car would have never got stolen. They would have never been running from the police. Right. None of this would have never happened.
Family and friends gathered to remember the life of Jiywana Harlan at the very spot where it was taken, when the 33-year-old mother of 7 was killed in a car crash last Saturday. Police say 18-year-old Jiywana Harlan was behind the wheel. He allegedly sped through a red light, striking Harlan's SUV, killing her and injuring 3 of her kids who were inside.
We've been watching people fly up and down these streets since we were children. There's been many accidents, police chases, hit and runs all down this particular street.
Jiywana Harlan could have been serving a brief prison stint when the crash happened. The 18-year-old was set to be sentenced back on March 26 after pleading guilty to a pair of felony gun charges and resisting arrest. He was initially given a 10% $1,500 bond, meaning he only had to pay $150 to get out of lockup. The sentencing was reportedly postponed because of the pandemic.
They gave him a slap on the wrist.
That's what they did.
You gave him a slap on the wrist because of some money. Because he was able to throw some money in y'all face.
What it's about.
And he walked.
Vaughn got into more trouble in the following months, according to court records. From carjacking to a number of felony weapons charges for a case in July. And then there was that fatal crash last week. Police say Vaughn and his friend, 17-year-old Deon Davis, were street racing this stolen Dodge Challenger the day of the crash. Officers confronted Davis when he stepped out of the car at a gas station on 7 Mile. That's when Vaughn, police say, slid into the driver's seat and sped off, leading officers on the chase and eventually hitting Jiywana's SUV.
First day, I seen my little baby girl walk, and she ran. We were laying in the room watching Car Wash. When she heard that music, she got up and did her thing. Shook her little butt. I said, go, Dodie-Do, go.
Those memories, just about the only thing now that can bring fleeting smiles to these tear-stained faces.
It used to just be me and you, and now I'm by myself. At what point do we get to the point where we say enough is enough? Enough doing stupid stuff. Enough acting a fool, because all they do is lead us right here where we at right now. Loving on each other, crying, and now we have to bury our loved one for what? It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it, and now you're spending the rest of your life in jail, and now your loved one have to look at you and come see you while we got to go to a gravesite to see my sister in the ground.
That young man now facing second-degree murder and reckless driving charges for that fatal crash here. And that on top of a host of other charges. Police say guns were found in that stolen Dodge Challenger. Vaughn is currently in the county jail. His next court date is next week for those charges of carjacking and those weapons charges from that case back in July. Huel, Taryn?
So sad, Randy. Now, you did mention the weapons charges, but prior to all of this, had this young man been in much trouble before?
Well, according to court records, that does not appear to be the case. It seems like, according to court records, his first run-in with police was earlier this year when he picked up those first weapons charges and resisting arrest, and that was back in January, shortly after he turned 18.